Hey, this is Dan Lovaglia. I'm a staffing and coaching associate at Slingshot Group. I'm joined today by John Boyle from a church that we've partnered with for a lot of years. And I was talking with him this week, given all of the responses to COVID-19 and coronavirus and stay-at-home orders and so much going on. He had some great thoughts on how they're working as a staff, working with their congregation and the community. And I just wanted to kind of ask him some questions and sort of spread the love of these great ideas, what John and his team are doing. So, John, thanks for being with us.
Oh, I'm totally happy to do it. I said to you earlier, I think we probably just ripped these ideas off from somebody else. So
totally,
whatever.
Beg, borrow, steal.
That's right.
And then just give attribution to whoever.
That's the backbone of church ministry: beg, borrow, and steal.
So you're an executive pastor at a multi-site church, and what church is it? Where are you located? How many campuses? And what were some of the plans that you guys were in the middle of starting as this thing changed?
So I'm at Calvary Bible Church, which started in Boulder, Colorado, 131 years ago. So 1889. I know.
You part of it? Did you help plant it? That's
totally. I was one of the founding families. We've been in Boulder, which is an amazing city in the Front Range of Colorado, for 131 years. And about 14 years ago, we launched a campus in Erie, Colorado, which is about 20 minutes east of Boulder, and it's been awesome being a multi-site church for the last 14 years. And over the last year, actually sort of coinciding with our 130th anniversary last year, we invited our congregation to pray together for 130 days leading up to our 130th anniversary celebration. And during that season, we just really sensed that the Lord was calling us to launch a third campus. So we've been in this initiative we've called Go 3, discerning where God was calling us. And over several months, over a year really, we felt the Lord leading us to a city north of Denver and south and east of Erie and Boulder that's called Thornton, Colorado. And over the last few months, a church gave us their building, and we were making plans to, just an amazing work of God. And it's been such a joy to be a part of. And these people are so kind and generous. And so we had literally a physical location fall into our lap, and we were planning to launch our Thornton campus in September, which still may happen. But obviously, that's what we were just driving towards, was launching our third campus and prepping for that and building the team. And then, like for everybody else, the world suddenly changed.
Yeah, it like shifted on a dime, churches that were sort of building bound, or they were thinking about, okay, how do we attract people into this environment that we've created? We've got these great ministries and so on. Suddenly, like, everything shut down and everybody got pushed out of the building. And so, like we were talking before, we're joking about Zoom fatigue, all these video calls and trying to build community and do things differently over digital and virtual environments and stuff. But tell me a little bit. As you have a staff, how big is the staff? And, as far as how are you keeping them engaged, given that it's almost like herding cats, right? They're all at their homes and they're trying to stay connected, but what are you guys doing? What are you learning in that process too?
Yeah. So we have our staff team's about 40 people, and we just immediately said, all right, I think this is what's happened for every multi-site church, is it's almost like you are no longer multi-site. You have one campus now. I'm sure it's different for every flavor of multi-site, but that's basically what we've had to do.
Yeah, you could do a video online service or something for each campus or whatever, but at some point, pool your resources, figure out what's going to make sense for the context you're in, right? So
and what made sense for our context was we're going to sort of collaborate and have one online experience. And so we've just brought our staff team together. We had staff that were allocated to both the Boulder and Erie campus, and we were starting to build the staff team for Thornton. But we've just said, okay, 2 times a week, we're having all hands on deck Zoom meetings. So we have a call with 40 people. It's cool to see all their faces up on the screen. And we've done a lot of breakouts, and we make that cross campus. So it's been cool to Zoom has this feature of where you can just do like random breakout rooms.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, all right, we want 3 people in a breakout room, press the button, and then you never know who it's going to be. And suddenly you're in a room with 2 other staff members that you may work with closely normally, or you may not work with as closely. But it's been a really cool chance for our staff to just share with each other and pray with each other and encourage one another and get to know people that maybe they had worked with a little less closely prior to this. So I think it's actually like increased our camaraderie in some ways. And people just love being together for that, that short little time that we spend together twice a week.
That's huge. Well, I mean, with Calvary, Slingshot and Calvary have had a kind of a partnership relationship for a lot of years. We've done a lot of different things, searches and coaching and different strategic, initiatives and conversations around, solving kind of where you guys are at and what you need to do and so on. One thing, I came out and we were trying to find a particular staff member for a particular role. And, one of the things that we do on our site visit is trying to figure out like where are the bodies buried, or like what's unhealthy or whatever. And I just got to say, you guys have one of the strongest, healthiest, trusting, unified, aligned staff teams. And what I'm hearing is that it's only getting stronger through this hardship, right? So as we persevere, we recognize that we're facing stuff we've never faced and we're persevering together. It's so much better when you've already built that trust on the front end. And so I just love hearing that. But I also, you were sharing with me on another call we had about how everybody's jobs changed, like overnight. There are some people who, they're kind of doing the same thing, but how they do it, with who, and so on has changed. What did you tell your staff? Like, go home, take a nap, and we'll come back when we get the building open. Like,
we'll call you when we're open. Right. Yeah. So, for the most part, I think our teaching and our worship, our production, even our student ministry and kids ministry to some extent has kept doing some type of ministry programming. Certainly worship is leading our online experience, and our teaching pastors are leading that, and students have been gathering folks via Zoom, and even our adult ministries have been doing that kind of thing. But what we basically said to our staff is, like on the first all staff Zoom call we had after we canceled services, was, okay, everybody, here's the deal. Your job now primarily is that you should think of yourself as a congregational care pastor. And your primary focus is going to be caring for the congregation. And then secondly, those of us who were doing ministry programs that now aren't happening, we want you to shift from programs to projects. And I think for all of us who have been in ministry for an extended season, there's always this list that we have of like, oh, I wish I could get to that, but Sunday's coming.
Oh yeah.
And we said, here's some good news in the midst of a lot of bad news. For those of us who know what that Sunday rhythm is like, Sunday isn't coming for many of us. And so what can you think about that are those projects? And, check in with your supervisor and let us know what your priorities are. But, for some folks who were even supporting programs, that they weren't really sure, like, what should I do? Because I don't know what I have a job to do right now. That was helpful for them to be able to say, well, there are projects, and we've even assigned some projects to people to say, we'd like you to help us with this, because what we said to them is, we think we could come out of this with a stronger ministry, because we gave ourselves to improving things that maybe we didn't have time to before.
Yeah. Well, and that makes sense. I mean, it's so simple, but it provides the clarity that people need, when they're wondering, like, do I have a job? Will I have a job? Because we know that's what, congregants are facing. They're trying to think through, how is their role changing and so on. As I think about you guys, you've got this pretty elaborate staff across multiple campuses. And the fact is, they don't necessarily know what's happening at certain levels of the organization as far as the future and what's going on. You had all of these moving parts going on. And so for you guys to just bring clarity to say, look, we are all pastors, congregational care pastors right now. We know what families are facing. We know what congregants are facing. We know the issues that you guys are also wrestling with, but you're a care pastor. So bring that presence. But then, your program's not running. You're not in the hamster wheel of week in, week out, Sunday's coming. You know, you don't have to set up those lights or build that program or whatever you're working on. And so move on a project. What is something that you can do to add value in this sort of unexpected season that really is going to help move the ministry forward, because you already had momentum. So let's redirect some of that energy in that way.
Yeah.
Way to go. That's awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, our staff is just great, and it's hard to pivot as quickly as we all have had to. And I think giving people clarity that's pretty simple around this is what we'd like you to do just helps them. And then they know what to do, and they figure it out and do a great job. And they're coming to us all the time with new innovative ways that they're connecting with people or caring for folks, or, the projects they're working on. It's cool to see how people respond in the midst of challenges.
That's great. Well, I mean, that's inspiring, right? And it'd be easy for me to be like, that's so great. You got a great staff, big ministry, lots of things. You pivoted perfectly. What's like the one like curveball hurdle that you're like, we just don't know what to do? Like we have all of this horsepower, God's on our side and we're following him. But at the same time, you've stumbled into something that you're going, we just don't know what to do yet. And that's probably true for big churches, small churches.
Oh yeah.
How are you coming through that? What are you facing?
Oh my gosh, there's a new thing every day that we don't know what to do with. It's really hard to make decisions right now because you don't know what the future holds.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of decisions that we need to make as we're trying to think about third campus and staffing decisions that we have to make, and what's the future hold in a variety of different ministry areas. And it's really hard because you don't know, when is this season going to come to an end, and when we get out of it, what is it going to look like? So there's a lot of those kind of decisions that are challenging. In our location right now, Colorado has experienced some COVID cases, certainly. We're in Boulder County, which actually has been one of the counties, interestingly, that has not been as hard hit as other counties around us. Even though we're basically part of the Denver metro area, we're pretty low on the list. So one of the challenges we've faced is we have a lot of people who would love to serve and do things, but we're right now, as we're shooting this, in a shelter, stay at home, statewide order. And so there are some ways for us to be able to release our people, but other ways they feel, just sort of stuck. And we're trying to give them ideas of what they can do at home and how they can help. And we're trying to encourage them. One of the most important ways we can serve is to stay at home. But it almost feels like we're waiting for something to change, either for the shelter in place stuff to lift, or we're praying it doesn't, but for maybe things to get worse where we could respond differently. So I think probably the biggest challenge for us is just the unknown of like, what does this look like in 6 months, a year, 18 months? And I think if anything, this season has taught us and forced us to be flexible. And we keep telling our staff how appreciative we are of their flexibility, and that we're probably going to need to continue to do that as we figure out what's ahead.
I think that's great. Yeah, I think, for me, as I listen to you, just the humility of being able to recognize we don't know, and sort of the positive energy and enthusiasm and engagement side of like, but that doesn't mean we stop. And so we will jump in. I think about in James, it talks about, be full of joy, even though you're facing trials, and to persevere. You're like, I'm not giving up. Like, we're going to keep going. And even in this season, as Easter hits, I look at Hebrews chapter 12, and it's like, we look at the author and perfecter of our faith. We don't lose hope because, man, he faced all this. We will face this in a different way, but with the same sort of character and determination and perseverance, because we do have a hope. Even though we don't know what the future holds, we don't know what to do today, we can wade our way through a little bit better because we keep our eyes fixed on Christ and see what happens as we walk forward. Well, thank you, John. Any last words you have for anybody as far as if they're feeling some of the stress of this, or they're facing what do we tell our staff, or what do we talk
Yeah.
about for the future? Any words that you have that you would just kind of put a bow on this for us, man? It's Easter, right? We need some like
that's right.
magic
So this
Easter
is
dust.
you lose track of what day it is. I think today's Thursday and tomorrow's Good Friday, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right.
Okay, so what you said, just the stress and anxiety, like there is an underlying stress and anxiousness that I think we're all feeling because of the unknown. And we know for our team, and I'm sure it's the case for so many people who are working in so many different roles, but in churches especially, like many of us can't remember the last time we had a day off. All the days sort of string together, and we've been tactical for probably about a month right now as it stands now.
Yeah.
And so we have, as a part of our rhythm, that the Monday after Easter is just a church holiday for our staff. And we've told them in our 2 staff check-ins on Zoom this week, okay, Monday, you're not allowed to have meetings. You're not allowed to check email. If you have meetings, please reschedule them. We're really committed to keeping Monday as a day off. And what we're encouraging you to do is to take it as a Sabbath and connect with your families, connect with the Lord, and just step away. Because, as difficult as it is to have like a black and white line between work and your personal life when you're on church staff, it's even more so when suddenly your church office is at home.
Everything is in one location.
Yeah. And so we said to our staff today, we need to lead out of a position of strength. And the way we strengthen ourselves is time with the Lord and time away. And it's okay. Like, you have to take care of yourself or you're going to burn out. And so we just put a line down and said, all right, Monday is a day off. And as we continue in this, we may have to do that. It's like people can't go on vacation right now. Not that we wouldn't allow them to, but where are they going to go? To the backyard? I don't know. So we're going to have to keep reevaluating that in our rhythm of saying, like, forced, you have to take a company holiday so that's that awesome. We can replenish.
I love it. Well, and now people know what to do. If they have, if people still have a paper calendar at home and it says Easter Monday and it's for a different country, Canada or
there you go.
They're like, oh, now I know what that is. That's great.
Yeah.
This is great. John, thanks for taking just some time to share from the heart of like your leadership as well as your church and kind of what you guys are facing and working through. Hopefully it's an encouragement, inspiration to the Slingshot family and anyone else who gets to watch this video. And hope you guys have a fantastic Easter, Good Friday, Easter weekend, and then, of course, Easter Monday. So,
it'll be great. Well, thanks, Dan. As you said, we've had a long-term partnership with Slingshot, and you guys have helped us find some of our best staff members and coached us through things and helped those staff members grow and consulted in areas. And we're just grateful for the work that you do for the church and for us in particular.
You bet. Thank you. Appreciate it, John.